Hey everybody, Patrick from Patty Melts here, and today Makera announced a big delay in their wildly successful desktop CNC machine, the Z1. I manufactured products in China for almost a decade, so I have a little bit of a unique insight into this issue, but let's get into it. Please pardon any noise in my audio in the background here. I'm working on a 3D print on my Bamboo Lab H2D for an upcoming video, and it's an 8-hour print, but I wanted to get this video out. So if you're not familiar with it, Makera launched a brand new desktop CNC machine, the Z1, and this was the predecessor to their two other successful Kickstarter campaigns for the Carvera Air and their original larger machine with a tool changer. Now, Kickstarter, if you're not familiar with it, is essentially a platform that allows people to pledge an amount of money in anticipation of receiving that product. It's not a guarantee. It is not a store. And at its heart, it's essentially angel micro lending, right? Except in volume, it doesn't become so much of a micro loan. It becomes a pre-ordering system. And it's very nuanced if you're not familiar with it. If you are familiar with it, you know that the anticipated delivery dates and timelines should be taken with a grain of salt, and are all very fluid and really not to be the rule, but more than a hope, if you will. However, given that Makera had several successful Kickstarter campaigns already under the belt, that gives you the confidence and the expectation that they have a manufacturing process in place and are able to plan for a variance in units. However, when you reach a quantity of 10 million in funding, don't know that you can plan for that a whole heck of a lot in a short amount of time. So following the success of Makera's Carvera and then a smaller footprint CNC machine, the Carvera Air, Makera noticed that those price points on those machines were still just a little too high for the absolute beginner to CNC. And that's the position that I found myself in, was him and Hein over the Carvera Air, really just not willing to gamble that much on something that I didn't know that I needed. So when they announced the Kickstarter campaign for the Z1, I was over the moon. This was going to be a desktop CNC machine. There was even a smaller footprint, and at a price point, I believe, for early backers of, gosh, I think $700, maybe $800. I'm not remembering the exact point, but sub $1,000, which was a gamble that I was willing to take. I wasn't familiar with either the Carvera or the Carvera Air Kickstarter campaign, so I can't speak to how those went. But it seems like Makera sent out a handful of prototype units to YouTubers and various influencers in the industry to test out the Z1. I'm not sure if they sent out too few, but the cadence in which those went out seemed a little odd. There were some issues that professionals with CNC were addressing, but it didn't seem like those issues were going to be really red flags to not back the campaign, and seemed like easy fixes once production was underway. So here I am, first day of the campaign. I have an alarm set. I clicked on it right away and sped through the checkout process and ended up as backer 64. And I knew that this was going to be wildly successful because I knew that it was going to latch on to all of the crafting maker enthusiasts that had laser engravers and cutters, 3D printers, anything that was involving that type of hobby. This was going to appeal to people. And so that I knew it was going to blow up and it was going to be successful. And in manufacturing, being wildly successful and having a lot of units to make can present some absolutely crazy challenges. So as I saw Makera cross 6 million, 7 million in funding, 8 million, I knew that we were in for some new challenges. And especially I knew that their anticipated delivery date of January 2026 was extremely unlikely. While I can't speak to manufacturing CNC machines or equipment in China, I did make board games for nearly a decade in China that I sold all over the world. And so I do have an understanding of manufacturing ramp up and how that process goes, as well as the nuances of shipping from overseas. Makera had a real problem on their hand as the quantity started to grow, because, and I can't say what they have, but I would assume that they would have one or more factories on the ready to produce these unibody frames, and then who knows how many sub-factories or subcontractors they had to make individual parts and pieces, whether they do it all in-house. I haven't seen that information. I'm not familiar, but it is a pretty safe assumption that even if they are making 100% of the products on that machine, that they weren't going to be able to deliver by January. And so commonly what happens is a manufacturer will go out and subcontract another factory or another factory. It depends what their process is. And the really scary part about this is quality control. Quality control across various batches, quality control off various factories. And so you have a sort of unlimited amount of variables in how each piece of that equipment is made, and where it's made, and when it's made. And that can be a nightmare. And I do not envy Makera for having to navigate that with the amount of backers that were now on this project. I can't speak to Makera's production and shipping process, but I can tell you what mine is. And I've got to believe that it can't be wildly different, with the exception of Makera obviously is putting together a much more complicated thing with a CNC machine versus me putting together a tabletop board game. But manufacturing goes, you typically get a unit that is called a white in board games, and so it's all blank. It doesn't have any ink printing on it, but this gives you the chance to look at and approve the feel, the quality, the card stock, etc. Then you move and you get color copies of the print, so you can check color hues, fitment, how everything is going to lay out, and then you approve that, and then X number of samples get produced for the final approval. And this process can take weeks on a rapid timeline, maybe weeks, but this process really takes about months. And then once that approves, it goes into full production. Now, I can tell you that it is a lot quicker to make a board game than it is to quality control a CNC machine, right? With the board game, it has to go through its printing process, and then because cardboard is very wet and malleable, it has to sit in a dry room in a factory. And dry rooms are typically small in factories, because that's the final stage, and there can be kind of a bit of a traffic jam waiting for your game to get into a dry room. And so it has to cure and sit, and then it gets packed up, and then it gets taken to the port, and then it gets shipped, then it gets received by customs. And there are a lot of points in which you can experience delays there. You can experience production delays. You can experience delays in logistics of getting it to the port in China, getting it on the ship to China, the ship arriving in the U.S. That's quite a trip from China to the West Coast. And then once it arrives in the United States, it can be quite a bit of delays from that point on in order for it to go to the freight forwarder that's going to receive the product. It has to be processed by customs, and then it gets sent out to various distribution centers. And post-COVID, this entire chain of distribution has become a bit of a nightmare, and it has certainly become a political hot button issue in that journey from China to the United States. So towards the end of the Kickstarter campaign, Makera did something that really caused quite the kerfuffle and had a lot of people having some pretty strong feelings. They had announced a pro version of the Makera Z1. And this was great. It was going to improve several key areas that we don't need to get in here. But what they did say is that those units would ship several months after the base units without the pro version changes on them. And so this kind of feeds into, I think, what are going to be some people's frustrations right now is some people said, hey, I'm eager to get the machine. I have it set aside for my business. It's always a terrible idea. Do not make business plans around a product coming from Kickstarter. It should be treated as a luxury, and it should be treated as, I might not actually get this thing. You have to do your research because there aren't any guarantees. And it's a bad idea to surround business plans on that. So that kind of created a really big kerfuffle, particularly because they announced it with a really odd timing. And they announced it, I believe, to really increase the final, week or days of their campaign. Now, I can't speak for every project on Kickstarter, but typically you can think of a Kickstarter campaign kind of like a skateboard half pipe, right? You have a huge spike, your first 3 or 4 days, and you have a huge spike in your last 3 or 4 days. And if you're running a Kickstarter campaign, your job is, how do I keep my audience engaged? How do I keep growing this campaign during that sort of middle lull? And so that could have come in the middle of this campaign. It did not. It came towards the end. And I think for some people, it created a lot of bad blood. You're like, you didn't casually announce a pro version of this machine, right? You had to have had this in the works for quite some time, or it's something that you're going to offer a year from now as you manufacture it. So they said, yes, we had been sitting on that information. And so I just don't understand why some companies communicate so poorly on Kickstarter. It's not hard just to be transparent and say, hey, y'all, here's where we're at. Here's what's happening. Yeah, this kind of sucks, but we're working through it. I just don't understand a lack of transparency. But I guess when you have a company that big and, it's a different culture and different expectations, I don't know how they approach it. I just know that communication is easy and communication is free. And the truth is always the best way to give out information. So Makera, in my opinion, was too silent for too long. They were doing a great job of answering questions in the comments, but that always included a response to email them at their generic info@makera.com, or I don't know what the email address was. But that silence, again, really just was costing them. So again, back to that announcement today, we now know that Makera is saying that the first units will begin shipping in March. Shipping in March does not mean delivered by in March. Shipping in March most likely means aggressively delivery by May, possibly June. And that's for the early backers. I don't know what the final count was on this, but I think it's well over 5,000 backers. And I don't know how they plan to approach this. I think I had emailed them, and they are going to prioritize the United States because that's the most amount of backers, and they are going to prioritize your backer number. So in theory, I should be one of the first people to be receiving the Makera Z1, but I can't say how they're going to do everything. Then they're claiming that the Pro version will ship the following month. Again, that means that they're manufacturing that now because a month isn't a whole lot of time to make extra parts and pieces. And those units, those Pro units, are being fully assembled as Pro units, not just as add-on kits to be installed, but they are apparently saying that they're going to offer that Pro edition as a separate package that people that didn't buy the Pro can get. But that just leads to a lot more questions. Will it ship with it? Will it ship separate? They've got quite the logistical challenge ahead of them as a result of all of this. So the thing that I like to remind everybody is that this is a luxury item, and we are very privileged to be able to afford such an item and to have such a neat machine that is going to arrive and we're going to be able to do some really rad things with. I like everybody to take a breath. It is okay. None of this is inside of our control. And it's okay that that machine isn't going to show up this month. Is it disappointing? Absolutely. I'm really bummed. I was excited to unbox it and video that and share here on YouTube that journey of what I'm going to make with it. But that's okay. That can happen when it comes. But I think sometimes it's very easy and very understandable to feel wronged or slighted, and to feel frustrated is valid. A company didn't communicate as well as it could. It broke some promises. But I don't think Makera is a bad company. And I don't think that they meant anything nefarious behind it. There's nothing to gain there by making your customers angry, particularly your early adopters. I feel that past success didn't dictate what was going to happen with this largely successful Z1 campaign. And we don't know their story. We don't know how their manufacturing facilities continued as they sold the Carvera and the Carvera Air. We don't have any of those details. Things could have massively changed on that front, and those aren't things you exactly advertise, as they could hurt your business. Things may not have changed at all. The simple fact of the matter is we don't know, but it's going to be okay. I firmly believe that everyone is going to get their product, and when it gets here, it's going to be a really amazing product. So I thank you so much for watching this. If this is your first time tuning in, my name is Patrick. This is my channel, Patty Melts, and we cover all things making, such as 3D printers, laser engraving. So if you haven't subscribed and you want to follow that journey, please take a moment to subscribe. It really helps the channel. I really appreciate it. But jump in the comments and let me know. Did you back the project? How do you feel about Kickstarter? What are your thoughts surrounding all of this? I really would like to know. And I'd also like to remind you, hey, go out this week, make something or create something, because you are so very worth the investment. Have a great week, everybody.